يلا number 1 يا لميس. If I طبعا هنا complete the sentences with the correct form of the verb given. Number 1. If I more the exam. If I
If I had studied,
had studied
I would have passed.
would have passed. Had studied would have passed. Number 2 يا إيمان. Mark me if he my cell number.
ماشي. Mark would have phoned me if he hadn't
Mark would have
lost
phoned me if he
lost my cell
hadn't
number.
lost my cell number. Okay. Number 3 يا ملك. We a taxi.
We wouldn't have taken a taxi if the public transport
Wouldn't have taken a taxi if the public transport workers hadn't been. Okay. Number 4, Lamis.
Mom would have taken us to the beach if it hadn't rained.
Okay. Mom would have taken us to the beach if it hadn't rained. Iman. If you were coming, are you at the airport?
If I had known you were coming, I would have met you at the airport.
Would have met. Thank you. يلا ملك.
I would have bought.
Would have bought.
If they had invited.
If they had invited me. Okay. Number 7, Lamis.
If we had taken a map with us, we would have reached the village in time.
Had taken, we would have reached. Okay. Number 8. If Emma up earlier, the train. يلا إيمان.
If Emma had got up earlier, she would have reached the train.
Would have reached. Okay. Number 9. يلا ملك.
If I hadn't gone shopping, what would have you eaten?
Would have you eaten? Okay. Lamis.
If you had paid the fine, you would have been sent to prison.
Okay, had paid the fine, you would have been sent. Number 11 يا إيمان. Me, if I was busy.
She wouldn't have visited me if she had known
Wouldn't have visited me if she had known. Judy, number 12. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Mr.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Number 12. Ella Judy.
Sonia?
We are going to complete the sentences by using third conditional يا Judy.
تمام. If the wall had been built properly, it wouldn't have.
لا. Number 12 اللي هي على السكرين قدامك دي.
سوري تمام عشان كان في تمام.
اوكي.
ثانية. We would have flew.
Would have flown.
ايه ده ليه؟
الباست participle flown. Fly, flew, flown.
ماشي. If there had been.
Had been. اعملي 13 يا جودي عشان هم حلوا كتير.
ثواني. My dad wouldn't have married my mom if she had been.
Okay, 14 يا جودي.
ماشي. ثانية. If the wall had been ثواني. had been built, it wouldn't have broken.
wouldn't have broken. طيب number 15 يا لميس. If I more careful, I
If
saw
I
many
had
mistakes.
been,
Had
would
been
have
more
made.
careful, i.e. wouldn't have made. Okay. طب 16 يا إيمان.
I would have arrived there in time if the weather had been better.
Okay, would have arrived if the weather had been better. طب 17 ملك.
If I had more time, I would have done.
Okay, if I had, I would have done. طيب number 18 جودي.
أنا
مم.
ماشي. ثانية. If Nina had behaved well, my aunt would have taken her to zoo.
would have taken. 19 يا لميس.
If I hadn't listened to
hadn't listened.
I would
The
have
stereo I would
I
have
would
a
have heard.
would have heard. Okay. طب number 20 يا ملك.
Mm, If he had come with us, I would have enjoyed.
Had come would have enjoyed. طيب يلا complete. يلا إيمان. If he had been able to afford it, he
ثانية يا مستر، هو ده فين ده؟
ده كان
اللي
homework على
بعديها اللي
أيوة، ده
بعديه على
page
اللي بعديه
كام؟
على طول. هو نفس البيج. page 6.
لا أنا ضيعت، ثواني حاضر. لا أنا بقراها
Yes.
عادي.
Okay.
He would have، لا أيوة would have both.
would have both. يا جماعة اللي يجاوب you have to mention which condition. هل هي first ولا second ولا third. Okay. It's third. يلا يا جودي number 2.
ماشي ثانية.
Okay.
دي first condition.
Okay. If it rains this afternoon
we won't go out.
won't go. First condition. Number 3 يا لميس.
if she ده second first condition.
First condition يبقى هقول if she ايه؟
If she passes.
passes. طيب number 4 يلا يا ملك.
If she posted the letter now, they eat by Tuesday. The second condition هتبقى will receive.
would receive أو could receive. Number 5 يا إيمان.
the third conditional. أيوة بتكلم. The third condition فأقول if I had known.
had known. Okay. Number 6 يا جودي.
ثانية. دي first condition تبقى will be.
will be. Okay. يلا لميس.
If my girlfriend left me, the second condition, I would feel.
Thank you. ملك.
Number 8. The second condition هتبقى wouldn't say. I wouldn't say
okay.
that.
Wouldn't say. يلا إيمان.
ماشي. the third would have إيه ده؟ would have gone.
would have gone. جودي. يلا يا جودي. جودي which condition يا جودي number 10.
ماشي. ثانية معلش الصوت كان بيقطع. if I saw would be second condition.
Second condition. برافو. يلا لميس.
The teacher will be very angry if you don't hand in your room.
don't hand.
second. First.
ليه second first يلا ملك.
اوكي هي دي third conditional وهتبقى had wanted.
had wanted. إيمان.
مستر احنا نمبر كام؟
13 يا إيمان.
ماشي. هي دي second؟ لا دي first
دي first.
ماشي. أو هتبقى if you run.
أوكي. جودي.
ثانية. If she was where sorry.
Where
ودي second condition.
15 لميس.
I would have came to the party if
لا
I
would have come. لا
have
would
come.
have come يا لميس عشان هنا come come.
If the third.
أوكي يلا يا ملك. If you the flowers they won't survive.
دي زيرو كونديشن صح؟ دي زيرو كونديشن وهتبقى
تمشي زيرو بس هي هنا first عشان في will not الناحية التانية.
اوكي ماشي اوكي.
مم.
هتبقى don't water.
don't water. إيمان.
ثواني. هي دي second conditional.
The beach would be an ideal place for a picnic if it
weren't.
طب 18 جودي.
ماشي. If she had read.
دي third. طب 19 يلا لميس.
مستر مش دي تنفع first وزيرو؟
تنفع first وتنفع zero. Be careful if you touch this wire you will get أو you get الاتنين صح.
will get.
أوكي.
بس مش المفروض تبقى first أحسن يا مستر عشان هو حدد أنهي واير؟
لا عشان في be careful كمان.
ماشي.
احنا واخدين be careful من الكي ووردز بتاعت الفيوتشر فورمز بستخدمها مع win. She could win the race if she
Right.
يلا ملك tried. According to our novel this term is called Great Expectations. Our novel is called Great Expectations. What does it mean by great expectations? Is there anyone want to tell me what is the meaning of great expectations? Any great expectations expectations هنا هي wishes هي ambitions هي wishes وإيه وambitions. طيب according to the days when Charles Dickens was living he had a miserable life conditions. As we read in Oliver Twist, as we are gonna read in Great Expectations, when you want to look at this novel, this term is called The Great Expectations. It's written by Charles Dickens. What about the main characters of the novel? The first main character whose name is Bib. His name is Bib. Who was Bib? Bib, he was the narrator of the story. He was the person who had great expectations. He had some great expectations. What else? His ambition in life is to better himself socially. He wanted to improve himself socially. And he wanted to be in a very good position. He wanted to be in a very good position in society. What about Bib's personality? he was orphan and he was living with his eldest sister اللي هي كان اسمها ايه؟ Mrs. جو جارجري. Mrs. جو جارجري دي كانت she is 20 years older than Bill. كانت أكبر منه ب 20 years. كانت أكبر منه بإيه؟ ب 20 years. He rejected. He what? He rejected many of his closest friends in life. But this is the information about Bib. This is the information about Bib. The second character, whose name was Mrs. Joe Gadri. Who was Mrs. Joe Gadri? She was Bib's older sister. She was Bib's older sister. She raised Bib by hand. Using what? Using حاجة اسمها the tickler. Do you know what does it mean by tickler? Tickler is a way, something that she used to hit Bib with it. كانت عبارة عن هي فيها it contains wax اللي هو الشمع. الشمع ده لما كانت بتضرب بيه كانت بتعمل له punishment. فكانت بتريبريزنتد الثيم اللي هو بتاع child abuse. كان هو child بس هي كانت ايه؟ she was harsh. She was harsh. She was cruel. She was aggressive with Bib. She used to punish him all the time using the tape. Okay. What about the third character or the third main character? No, Mr. Joe Gadri. What about Joe Gadri and the relationship between Joe Gadri and Bib? He was Bib's brother-in-law. عارفين يعني ايه Bib's brother-in-law يا بنات؟ Bib's brother-in-law يعني هو he was the
يعني
husband
جوز أخت.
of her sister, of his sister, sorry. Okay, كان brother-in-law. He was a close friend to Bib. He also represented father figure to Bib. And according to Joe Gadri, had a miserable conditions when he was a child. He had miserable conditions when he was a child. ايه هي miserable condition اللي كانت عنده؟ ان هو he and his mother were suffering a lot as his father was a heavy drunkard. Because of this reason, Joe couldn't receive any type of education. This is for Joe Gadri. He is a hard worker and a very moral man. This is for Joe Garden. Okay, we have another character. الكاركتر بقى دي اللي كان عليها كلام كتير اللي هي كان اسمها مس هابيشام. Who was Miss Havisham? She was بصوا بقى old rich lady who was living in بصوا بقى اسم البيت اللي كانت عايشة فيه Satis house. عارفين يعني ايه Satis house يا بنات؟ Satis house Satis هنا is a symbol to be stable. There isn't any noise, there isn't any voice at that house. كانت عايشة مع مين؟ مع الادابتد دوتر اللي هي كانت اسمها ايه؟ ستيلا. What about her problem? What about Miss Havisham problem? She was deserted on her wedding day. And then made it her goal in life. What about her goal in life? What about her goal in life? To get revenge. To get what? Revenge on men. Right. Why did she want to get revenge from all men? Is there anyone want? No?
Because on her wedding day,
أيوة.
her husband left her.
مش husband بقى ده هو هنا كان لسه الفيانسي بتاعها. Her fiancé hadn't come on the wedding day. So she had decided that she wouldn't take off her wedding dress. لحد ما الويدنج دريس الوايت ويدنج دريس بقى يلو ويدنج دريس. هقولها هنا ايه؟ She lives in the past wearing hair yellow dress. All the clocks in her state are stopped on the minute she found out her fiancé had left her. طيب, what about of her bringing up to Stella Havisham? برضه هي she brought Stella Havisham وخلت الجول بتاعها in life is to get revenge from all the men in life. طيب, what about Stella Havisham? دي كانت adopted daughter to who? Of Miss Havisham. She is brought up on Miss Avisham desire to get revenge on all men. Okay, they are the main characters in the novel. عندي بقى الكونفكت اللي هو كان اسمه عبد المجوج. كان في كونفكت عندي اسمه عبد المجوج. ماله عبد المجوج ده؟ قال لي the first convict that Bib met in the graveyard. Okay, with Bib's help, he escapes and later repays Bib by becoming his benefactor. ده اللي هو he appeared at the beginning of the novel and he asked Bib for food and iron file when he knew that he was living with blacksmith. طيب هات معايا كده page 3 في الاكتيفيتي بوك اللي هي السمري page 2. I wanna someone read. يلا جودي.
هذا in page 2 صح؟
Yeah.
تمام. Pip walks through the marsh near his small village home. It's during the evening, nearly dinner time, and he knows that
اعمل لي underline كده during the evening. يكتب عليه كده setting اللي هو the beginning of the novel. يبقى النوفل started in the evening. It started in the evening.
أكمل.
Yes.
And he knows that he has to be home soon. He knows that his sister will be angry if he doesn't arrive on time. Suddenly,
طيب اعمل underline عليها. اعمل underline على دي كده. He knows that his sister will be angry if he doesn't arrive on time. اكتب عليها Mrs. Joe used to represent theme of child abuse with Bib. Okay.
Suddenly, a frightening and hungry man appears and takes down and takes hold of Pip, demanding food. The stranger lifts young Pip upside down, and a piece of bread falls from Pip's pocket. The man eats the bread quickly and greedily. He then demands to know where Pip lives. Still frightened, Pip points to a nearby village. He explains to the man with an iron on his leg that he lives with his sister and her husband, Mrs. and Mr. Joe Gorgery.
Okay, what about the reaction of the convict? احنا طبعا at the beginning of the novel there was a convict in the graveyard. طلع لبيب and he told him. هتلاقي حتى عندك في quotation في النوفل نفسها في page 1 اللي هي keep quiet, cried a terrible voice or I'll cut your throat. ده الثreat بتاع الconvict, الفيرست convict to Bib. In the house, خلاص. Hearing the word blacksmith, the man's face lights up. He threatens to kill Bib if he doesn't return in the morning with an iron file and food for him. The man tells Bib that he is not alone. He has a young man with him who would tear Bib to pieces. طبعا ده warning لبيب if he doesn't follow the convict's directions. it doesn't dare any refuse. طيب لو جيت عملت كده أول question قلت لك describe or discuss the man Pep met at the churchyard. It's the first question. How will A? The frightening, stranger took hold of Pip. The stranger was wearing all gray, broken shoes, and an iron around his leg. Okay? The man asked Pip about his name, and he also asked him about the place where he was living. When Pip told him that he was living with his sister and her husband, and he mentioned that his brother-in-law was a blacksmith, the man asked him for food and an iron file. The man told Bip that he would harm him if he didn't bring the food and the iron file. الموضوع ده خلى ايه؟ threatening warning. When a piece of old bread fell out, what did the man do? The man ate it greedily. This is for the first question.